Okay, so hello everybody. Hello. My name is Jesse and I am a player for Shadowrun Blue, but today I'm going to be a facilitator, not a storyteller, because this game is called The Ground Itself. The Ground Itself is a collaborative storytelling game made by Everest Pipkin, which you can find on itch.io. Definitely give it a look, especially if you like what you're seeing here. Support small creators creating indie games that allow us to be super creative. I've already kind of introduced myself really quickly here, and I really want to make sure that we get to all of the stuff that we're going to do today. So maybe we go around the table and introduce ourselves really quickly, and then we can just get right into it, because I am not going to play around. We're just going to go. So let's start with over down below me. So that would be Rin?
Yes, correct. Hello, hi. I'm Rin, or Rindis of Partywipegames. You can find me most days of the week either here on Weave the Tale or on our own channel, Partywipegames.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us on this short notice one shot over here. Let's go over to would this be my left? No, wait. My left? Right? I don't know my lefts from rights. Shay?
Hello everyone, I'm Shay, or shaethefay on Twitch and Twitter. Normally I stream on my channel mostly art, but I'm taking a little bit of break that to try and get the house put together and things situated. Yeah, I have no idea how to play this game. I skimmed through the book. I don't know what I'm doing, and I was just sort of volunteered for this to prepare for stuff that probably not going to make much sense, but hey, that's what I'm here for.
It's okay. We will learn as we go, as I often like to teach my students. We learn as we go. We just do it live. Let's go over to Elliot. Welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Elliot. I'm chaosthem on the internet, as well as Chaos Elliot for the main Twitter feed. Gosh, I'm kind of excited about this because this was like, hey, want to play this game? You build a world. Stream starts in like an hour. You down? I'm like, yeah, Ian, I am so down. So I am excited to play.
At least you got
Yes,
an
and
hour.
while you may not see him, let's thank Ian really quick for getting everybody together on such short notice. The man behind the curtain, sort of doing the thing in the background right here and letting us sort of shine. So super appreciated. Oh, there it is. That's cute. All right, so like I said before, and I told the players this beforehand, but I'm going to tell the audience that this is called The Ground Itself. The point of this game is that we are going to collaboratively create a world together. There are going to be prompts throughout the game that are going to give us some questions about the game and or about the world that we are creating, and we get to answer those questions. A big thing about this game is that we are never going to contradict each other. We're never going to say, no, that's a stupid idea. My idea is better. We're only going to yes and. So we're only going to add to what we have going on. This is an improv student's dream, so we're going to have fun with it. And the first thing that we need to do when we are creating the ground or starting our Ground Itself game is that we need to essentially decide the setting for our game. Okay? And the setting of our game doesn't have to take too long, probably only going to take us a minute or two to figure this out. But we want to kind of figure out the basics of the world that we are going to create, the ground itself. And these basics could be as simple as, according to the book, if you guys have it up, you can look on page 6. It can be as simple as saying, I want a ground that has a lot of animals. And then another person can say, ooh, let's make it a zoo. See, it doesn't contradict, it just adds to it. And so we can kind of build upon each other and what we're going to create together. Through this setting build, we might end up coming up with a genre in and of itself. So I will start, and what we'll do is we'll go in Roll20 order as I see it. So it'll be myself first, we'll do Rin, Shay, then Elliot, and then if we feel strongly about the setting that we have gotten together, then we will be good to go. Sound great, guys?
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with the first part of this setting that I feel is super important. I would love for this setting or this ground to be in outer space. Rin?
I do
Let's
love
go.
outer space.
Setting the bar very high, so high, in fact, that it's in space. I like this idea, and there's the music. To kind of build off of that great idea, let's set our ground a little more grounded on a space station.
Okay. Shay.
The space station is a Dyson sphere.
Can you explain that a little bit more so that because I am not a science major, I am an art major, so I'm not too familiar with it.
Dyson sphere is a structure, a spherical structure that is hollow on the inside, and as it rotates, simulates gravity. The faster it rotates on the inside. Generally, the concept of the Dyson sphere is usually considered like a superstructure, and the concept of building one was like what if you build a bunch of solar panels that just encompass a star, sort of thing.
Okay. All right. I only ask because I'm dumb. But that sounds awesome. Oh.
Yeah, it's basically a hollowed out sphere.
Got it.
Yeah,
Right.
the simplified version of the Dyson sphere is you put just a sphere around a star, and you use the solar energy to power it, and you build everything on the interior of it. So you close off a sun, and everything's built around it, and you just harness that energy.
All right. Okay. Sounds good. Elliot.
I think that within this world that there are rotating moons that orbit outside of the sphere.
Oh, okay. So we have a really great setting to start. Do we feel like we want to add anything, or do we want to move forward? Because we can yes and each other right now in this moment to add maybe one or two things.
I can add something.
What would you like to add, Rin?
The moons exist for exploration and expeditionary forces to other spots. So while the Dyson sphere usually closes stuff off, you have a way to get to the moon, and the moon is like your import and export, trade hubs, and exploration. So people don't have to be stuck inside of the Dyson sphere. That's how they, where people meet up and do things.
Okay. I like that. I have so many ideas already. And it's unfair because I've played this game multiple times and you guys haven't. So I want to give us an opportunity to play the rest of the game. So this game itself is played in 4 cycles. Okay? And in those 4 cycles, we are going to skip a unit of time. All right? What that unit of time is, we don't quite know yet. So we need to determine what that unit of time is. Now, while Ian said that they was very interested in playing, they're not actually playing the storytelling part. But Ian, could you please roll a d6 for me?
Absolutely.
Because I know you're here, so I want you to participate in some shape or form.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can.
All right. Well, I got a 3.
So a 3 means that every cycle we are going to move in a unit of years. Which means that once we skip a cycle, we get to skip a number of years, either forward or backward in time. Okay? So that story that we might be telling about the ground itself is going to span across multiple years. Sound good?
Yeah.
If we rolled a 6, it would have gone through millennia. So this game can really be very strange in that sense. but we could also be in days, which makes for smaller, more personal stories. So, knowing that, we are going to scroll down over to establishing our place. So if you are on page 10 on the PDF, you'll see what I'm talking about. We need to answer some questions about the place itself. This is sort of like building the lore to our story, or to our ground. We're essentially creating the Wikipedia page for it, so that way we can create the rest of the stories for. So, with that in mind, I would like you guys to focus on the red deck on Roll20. What we'll do is we're going to pull out a card and drop it onto our board, right? And once we do that, we will read the question that is prompted by the card. You will answer that question based off the setting that we have already made. Other players can ask questions to clarify, but for the most part, you're going to be answering that question. Sound good? And we're going to go at least one round, so that way everybody can see how it feels. So I will go first just so you can understand, see how it is. Right down here, I'm going to throw it right up here. We have the King of Diamonds. And the King of Diamonds has a question that says, who or what is in power here? Is there a ruler, an apex predator, a series of laws that govern the society, or the weather? I would like to say that the thing that is in power on our Dyson Sphere space station is going to be a federation of planets that are too far away to actually govern this location. So they are present in that you see like their insignia everywhere, and maybe the army is part of this government, this governing body, but they're not really like the actual governing people are not present. You hear them from like the videos or the video feeds and stuff like that that they send over. So that's how I feel about who or what is in power here. Well, I guess I should clarify, because if the Federation is far away, then there should be somebody who is actually in temporary power. So I will say that there is an individual who is sort of like a Federation lackey and is an ineffective leader. I don't know their name yet, though. Maybe we'll figure that out later. Now, at this point, you guys can clarify, or if you like what's going on and you're like, all right, this sounds cool, we can move on to the next person to draw the next card.
I like it.
No, that's
Alright.
a really good idea.
Okay, Rin, you ready?
Yeah, let's go. All right. So, red, you said, right?
Yes, please pull from the red deck. Might be like a drag and drop kind of deal.
Yeah, the drag and drop didn't work. Let's try. There we go. Jack of Hearts.
Would you like to read the question for the Jack of Hearts question?
Yeah, let's see here on the other page. Jack of Hearts. Who lives here? What is an average person like in this place? What do they look like? What do they wear? Oh, fun. Or describe the flora and fauna. What is the landscape like? What animals and plants call it home? Well, since it's a space station, we're going to have to say that it's human and human-like species. Since it's a federation of planets, it's not just humans. It would be the since we said Federation, it's going to be the Star Trek equivalent of a melting pot of species that all, are vaguely human-like in appearance. If you slap a coat of paint on them and put some ridges or funny ears, then they're a totally different species and just not a human in makeup. But we don't get too wild in the dimorphism. We'll keep it simple because it's like we're having a very fun 70s sci-fi theme going.
Okay. Um, what does like the average person like do in this place?
Ooh. Well, I think the interior is more like a paradise habitat. Um, so they're very much leisurely. Um, my first thought was, of course, the like, everybody's wearing the Star Trek Federation jumpsuits, and then it kind of went into a Wally look where they're all in the outfits. They all have the same uniform outfit because they just have everything taken care of for them. So their day-to-day activities is very leisurely. Nobody inside of the sphere works. That's why you have the moon and the forces that inhabit the moon and do the exploration and trade.
Oh. Again, very interesting concepts that we could possibly tell stories about, which is very fun. Shay, would you like to poll?
King of Spades. So, spades. My question is, if there are multiple people who live here, what are they divided on? What are the points of contention that are fought over? If there are not multiple people, what resources do the plants, animals, or visitors to our place vie for? Well, I think this is quite obviously the first portion. I think that there are probably a couple points of contention. First, most obvious that I can think of is that all these people who are working on these moons and providing the resources and doing all this work so that other people are taken care of, don't like being wage slaves, and the people on the inside of the sphere, they don't know about this at all. Just the ineffective people in charge. And then the other point of contention I can think is maybe there's some people on the inside of the sphere who see this constant conformity and complacency and just having everything provided as being a little bit dangerous or boring or both.
Why not
And
both? Por
why
qué no
not
los dos?
I don't understand that. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like they're curious about more the outside world.
All right. Just as a clarification question, is this a long-standing point of contention, or is this a new development?
I feel like it should be long-standing.
And feel free to jump in, anybody, for any other clarifying questions. I always like to ask more questions all the time, so.
No, that makes sense. I like.
All right.
I like that it was like established from like the beginning, pretty much, whenever that was.
Yes. Elliot, you ready?
Yep. I'll
Let's
put
do it.
this right. Whoop. All right, so that is a Jack of Clubs. And Jack of Clubs is what was this place in the past and how long ago was that? So this place in the past was an old terraformed moon. So there, out of the moons, there is the main moon base, which people know of as the beginning, but that's the one people travel to and then expanded from. So how all the moons are interconnected with each other to travel and go to different places. I feel like that was the start, and then they started building off for the orb that everybody else pretty much lives in. And I think that was, I'll give it about 25 years ago.
Ooh. So the coat of paint is still fresh on our Dyson sphere. Okay. So that would make sense why the point of contention that we talked about earlier has been there since the beginning, because this is like almost like a new place that only special people get to go to, apparently. Okay, interesting. Do we feel like we have a good idea of where our stories might go? All right, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recall all the cards because we don't need them anymore. But what we do need is we need to start actually doing the main gameplay. Now, the main gameplay portion of this game is going to be us drawing cards from the blue deck. And basically, if we grab a 1 or an ace, then we will read the question from the ace, okay? But here's another thing that you can do now. You can choose to answer the question that is prompted by the number card, or you can play a forced situation. And a forced situation allows you to disregard the card and basically tell a story or do something a little bit different that might allude to other things that could change how we might tell our story. For example, you may create a character, could be anybody, who is telling a story about the ground itself or about something that's happening in the ground itself from the past, or maybe we're in the future for a moment and a storyteller is telling something about that's what's happening in the present. And you get to role play that character. Okay? Just tell your story like that character. We could also throw a party, which allows us to basically say, there's a celebration for some reason, and everybody's talking, and we get to talk about the things that they're talking about. And that could also allude to things that are happening within our ground or within the story. We could discover something. Once again, you create a character that finds something interesting, and it might change the way that the world works. You can see an omen, which means that something bad is on the horizon. We don't know what, but something bad is happening, and you can tell the omen, essentially. Sort of like a camera panning out and just describing a situation. And speaking of panning out, you can leave the frame. Now, our framework is the ground itself, which is, in our case, the space station. But you can choose to go somewhere else, such as maybe where the Federation is, and tell a story that's happening over there that might end up changing what happens to our own ground. Finally, you can just skip your turn. So if you don't like the question and you feel like things are kind of, you're kind of seeing yourself as like, I don't know what to add right now, and I don't know if I want to answer this question, you can just move on and skip your turn. Sound good? So, I'm not going to go first this time. We're going to do essentially a rotation round robin. So I started first twice, and then I'm going to say Rin is going to start us off by pulling from the blue deck. So we have the number 4.
And what page are we on now?
We will be on, so if you're looking for the prompt questions, they're going to be on page 20 on your on the book. Okay, and the suits don't matter in this case. It's just the number. So if we rolled a 4, you're going to read the first question on the 4s. If we rolled a second 4, then we read the second question on the 4, and so on and so forth.
Okay. So first question then is, what is the primary building or natural material of our place? Well, since we established that it's a Dyson sphere, the primary purpose of a Dyson sphere is to collect solar energy, usually for a larger stellar empire, or in our case, a federation. So the primary building would be the solar relay that is built all across the Dyson sphere. I know it's kind of a cheating answer, but it's, a building that centralizes all of the energy collection that maintains these solar collectors that is built all around it.
Okay. Can I yes and that?
Absolutely.
So how it gets transported should be through one of the moons. Like one of the moons is primary focus or export is getting the energy in their batteries and delivering it to that moon, and then from that moon it goes to where it needs to go. So we have like a moon that is the primary source for all solar exports.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
What if there's a point of conflict, though, that 1 month out of the year, there's like the sunlight is like not as prevalent, so half the energy gets consumed in that one part of the year, so they have to have like a low power mode type of situation in order to conserve the power.
All right. Okay. That sounds very interesting. I like that. Seems some questionable intrigue might be happening somewhere, like, oh, something else is going to happen in our world. Shay, would you like to go next?
If I can add a little more to that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sort of playing off of the people who are caught like working on the moons and everything. I feel like they kind of prioritize this power going to the primary federation, because the Dyson sphere itself is going to get just by proximity to its star is going to get that power, but outside of the sphere is pretty dark, so the people in power are going to want that energy first.
All right. Yeah. Okay, I like that. I really do like this. I'm already in love with this story.
Draw a blue card.
Shay, would you like to? Yeah, so pull a card, Shay, and let's see what question we get to answer next. Or you get to answer, not we, you.
2. 2 is... Okay. Name a monument, marker, statue, or other physicalized memory that exists in our place. What does it mark? Huh. This one's kind of tough for me.
It is a little challenging, but we can again, you always have the option to force a situation and do one of the other options that are available if you want to kind of like add to an idea or maybe even allude to something else.
All right, what are the... Oh, I see. Hmm. I hmm. It. I've got 4 options for the focus situations.
1, 2,
5
3, 4, 5, 6. You got 6 options. One of them being skipping too. So, but you can sort of again tell a story, or you again play the character that tells a story. We can throw a party. Maybe there's a celebration of some sort. Discover something new, like uh, something that'll change how the world works. See an omen, something bad is on the horizon. Leave the frame, go somewhere else for a second. Or again, skip your turn.
Um, I haven't really. Like, part of me wants to do tell a story, but I haven't prepared anything yet, so I have no idea yet.
You don't
I'm
have to prepare anything. You can just basically tell a story as anybody. You know,
well,
it could be
yeah.
a person
I'm,
that's. Yeah.
I mean, I don't have an idea for it, is what I mean.
Okay.
Not yet, anyway. I'm going to say. Um, I have an idea. I think I'm gonna do uh the throw a party one, and um, I think what it is uh someone who is tired of just kind of doing the same kind of uh, uh, day after day leisurely thing throughout this seemingly perfect world inside the sphere. Um, gather as just like-minded individuals, and then they start to like travel and explore. And granted, this is a superstructure, so there's a lot of that. So they start they start looking they start looking for new places and are exploring this structure and finding places that lead in and out, and are just enjoying themselves as they're doing it. It's 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 less leisurely and just more excitement and discovery and celebrating every new thing that they find.
Maybe one of the things that they're discussing, because they're talking about new things, is the possibility of finding a new energy source.
I was thinking that actually.
Yeah, like a new energy source, because I'm thinking like if there are people who live on the sphere, that they would be like super privileged woke types that are just saying like, oh, but we must think about the future and the people who are on the moon, and what if they need we need to find a new resource while we're burning away our own resources. But they're very excited about it because they're excited about the opportunity of something that is new and interesting as they explore their own little world, using up the energy that they have readily. And since this is a throw a party, everybody can add sort of things that these characters or these party people are talking about too, to kind of give clues into what might be happening. I know it's a lot of thinking. This is a very thinking game.
Since we're kind of implying that it's a haves and haves not kind of not dystopian, but very utopian / dystopian, depending on your perspective, maybe one of the people at this party is... I feel like big business is the wrong word, because it's like capitalizing on the solar energy, but maybe there's somebody whose interest is keep the energy solar, so like kind of like a spin on the oil industry of our real world. It's like, no, keep all energy solar, the clean burning solar energy. And so they don't want this other energy source that's easier, because they're going to lose out on their level of control. So this person is there and they're like, no, I hear this new energy source is, detrimental to something, health benefits or something. They're trying to spread misinformation throughout this party and lobbying to keep people on the clean energy of the sun.
Okay. My brain has a lot of ideas.
That's a good one. Oh, man. It's almost like getting...
Say what? Continue, sorry. I said continue, sorry. I forgot about the lag, so...
Oh, you're good. Yeah. I don't think I have anything really to add more to that. I like that there's like a little divided half that is like, no, man. I find that pretty amusing in that party, that like there's at least one person that's like, no, we gotta keep using this. There's no other resource. Can I draw my red card?
Yes, you may. Or a blue card, rather.
Blue card? Blue card.
Yes, blue card or the number cards.
I have a thought to add to that.
Yeah, you can do it while we're drawing the card.
These like energy resources, they're going back to, are thinking back to stories of before they had this superstructure, and they're like, well, there's weather on the inside here. Why don't we utilize the water or the air as well, and not just the solar energy, but everything?
And since we're in like a sci-fi future, like that's all science fiction, we can fake our science. Like, don't feel like you have to fill any like super science. Like, we can just say there's magic if we want to. So that's definitely an option. So don't feel like, okay, we're in sci-fi, so we have to make sure that it seems realistic. Okay, so do not feel like you have to sit in that kind of bubble. Okay, guys. All right, so we got a 9.
So, for a 9, what do people eat and drink here? What is considered traditional? So, I think people here generally, they eat plant-based, which is interesting since it is space. But because of that, I think there's like, they use the solar power to like help the air and everything for the plants to grow. A traditional type of food for them, though, even though it is plant-based, would be like a salad that would be like special with one meat component. And it's only so special because they don't have a big supply of this space meat component.
Okay. is there like a version of this traditional dish that like has a plant-based meat component to replace it, like for the people who can't get the meat-based component?
Yeah, I definitely think there's like some space beyond meat, basically. Uh, I'll go based on what I had for dinner, a Euro salad. That is their traditional. They're traditional. It is a bed of, greens with there's beyond Euro meat.
Thinly sliced.
Thinly sliced, yes. And they drink wise, I think they do have a water supply, so water is perfectly fine. And if there are herbs or anything around, they throw it in to flavor said water.
All right. Any adds to that? I feel pretty good. All right, let's see what we got here. Looks like I got a 6. So, dun dun dun. So let's find out what question that is and see if we... What is the most horrible thing in or about our place? I think we've already established that there's like this disparity, which feels kind of horrible. So I'm gonna be the agent of chaos, and I'm going to see an omen instead. I'm gonna force this situation and see an omen. And maybe like it's happening at the same time as this party is happening, where people are discussing like, oh, the wonderful alternatives that we could have, and you have your big solar energy guy sort of saying that solar is the way to go, and that nothing that we're not going to run out of sun. And then camera starts to pan and move over across to maybe like the big scientists with the white coats and stuff like that over their red jumpsuits, and they're looking at these meters and these dials and stuff like that, and they realize something terrible is going to be happening. The sun that they've wrapped around our little Dyson sphere here might go supernova. And might go supernova soon. Now, soon could be a lot of different things, but like in terms of space, but it's like soon. And that'll be the omen that I'm gonna kind of throw in there. So, your turn, Rin.
Oh man, I just pictured the next character is just this guy who's like, the sun is gonna explode, and then they're like, nah, man, you're crazy.
The sun's never gonna explode.
Suns don't explode. That's made up.
Suns don't explode, and black stars don't exist either.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a black hole. Crazy. That was the blue deck, right?
Yes, blue deck, please.
Okay. I just got an ace.
Okay.
Aces. All right. What are the plants like in your place? Well, we already described that because they're growing a lot of nutrients with the power of the sun. The rocks, the soil. Well,
again, if we feel like if we've already answered it, then we can always force a situation.
Yeah. Let's because those were quality answers, and I don't really want to change them because it just kind of makes me hungry thinking about a Euro salad. All right, so I want to use since we had that omen, let's leave the frame for a moment.
Okay.
So I feel like this one's going to be a little weird too, because I'm kind of thinking when we leave the frame isn't so much on the people who are, within the Dyson sphere. but we see like a scene of the actual Federation that is monitoring the area. While they're distant and very hands-off, there are still people within the workings of the bureaucratic system that exists within this Federation. And there is a up-and-coming person who wants to kind of benefit from sabotaging the idea of continuing to harvest from the Dyson Sphere, because they are the ones who are going to gain the most from this new energy source. And so they are monitoring an operation that is what's going to be leading towards the impending supernova. This supernova that's going to happen is an artificially made one by using the hand-waved super science that we have. We don't need to establish right now, but it exists.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they are working to artificially create this supernova to create an energy crisis.
How
Can't have
dare
a
they?
world that's happy.
Yeah. We're happy. We can't have that. What about
Utopias
my
aren't
profit?
real.
All utopias are dystopias.
Change my mind. Oh man, sorry, I had to gasp because like whenever those twists happen, I'm like, no way. How dare they? Shay.
Three is what do people listen to and perform here? What is considered the folk art? As much as I love art, I think there's something else I wanted to do. I feel like I want to do I feel like I want to add more to this by doing a tell the story now.
Okay.
And I imagine it's, let's see, I describe a character. I imagine it's this kind of like old, haggard down guy who's just has these health problems, like their hand. And this is one of the people who had been working on the moons, but they work with their hands, and they're not in a good place because of it, and so they've gotten kind of fed up with their lot, and they're like standing in front of a bunch of people, and they're saying like they promised us that we would have endless energy, and they use it all for themselves. And it's just kind of getting a small gathering of people, as they describe what a beautiful world that these people get to live in, but how we're left doing all the work, all because of this bureaucratical planet.
Perhaps like some of the people that are listening to this story, that's essentially riling them up. Maybe they're just like, maybe during this time, it's also like during the time when the moons have less energy, because it's at that weird time that we mentioned before where they have less energy in general, and so they're irritable because they have these rolling blackouts, and it's cold as fuck here, and the irritation is getting worse and worse because everybody's sort of like listening to this old man who's been here, who's done the shit for so long, and like they're like, yeah, you're right, this is fucked. Like,
it's very much a thing, and you will be able to tell my vehemence for bureaucracy. It's very much a oh yeah, we'll get to you eventually, and like, you know, every year this old man tells this story until like one of these during one of these blackouts, and it gets really really icy cold, and he finally passes away, and someone like these people, some family members, some of there's like two of their children there that are like side by side with grief at having lost them, and they looked to each other and they were like, he was right, something has to be done.
This just got intense, y'all.
It did get intense a little bit. We're kind of like, oh no, we're seeing the actual problem right now. Elliot.
All right. Blue. And this is another ace.
So this would be our second ace. So we'll answer the second ace question.
Yep. It's time to plant the seedlings. What are the seedlings and where are they planted? What is the harvest that is hoped for?
The seedlings.
Deciding if I want to do that or if I want to leave the frame.
Either or is a good option. Because I feel like there's good answers for both. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm gonna be a goblin. So I think that it's time to plant the seedlings, and they're grabbing the seeds from the import, and they realize that these seeds are kind of different. They're not like the ones they usually get, but it was labeled to be, for the other vegetation for food, be it a vegetable or something. But they plant them, and over time, they want it to be like another food source. So they're thinking it's another food source, but it's a carnivorous plant that they have to worry about. And I've planted like at least 5 of these. And they're all carnivorous plants.
And the only
and
meat.
This is... Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Oh no, indeed. So yeah, I'll spice that one up.
Oh,
I would think
place,
this would be
ground...
within the lab as well. I would think the lab that people are doing the solar stuff are kind of like adjacent to the plant growing and stuff as well. Have like a science department.
Oh man. You don't have to answer this because we can definitely yes and kind of add to it, but what do the carnivorous plants look like?
So I think that at first they do look like a weird vegetable until they go and try to like take it, and then suddenly like it opens up and you realize that it's trying to latch at the person trying to pluck it.
Just vegetable mimics.
Can we call them that? Can they be mimics?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely vegetable
awesome.
mimics. Yeah.
Oh man. This is The sphere is having some issues.
And
Let's
they
see
don't
how
know
much-
which plants are not vegetable mimics, and they're like, how do we harvest them?
Carefully.
Now we have a food crisis on top of our possible energy crisis. Oh no, everything's ominously happening. That looks like our second 9.
We don't have arrows, and we don't have arrows, and don't know how to make arrows because everything was given to us. So we don't know how to like poke them.
Poke them before, just have like a knife.
From a distance.
Okay, let's see. Second 9 says someone or group leaves our place. Who are they? Why are they going? And what do they take with them? And what do they leave behind? Oh, I got it. I got an answer for this one. Okay. The moons collectively strike. So the reliable export is what leaves the place. The reliable export and imports are what leaves the place. So they take with them all of the energy, or rather, they're not delivering any of the energy to the Federation. So the Federation is getting, sort of getting the squeeze, and then they're not delivering any of the good stuff to the sphere itself. In fact, they're probably keeping it for themselves because it is a cold ass winter month in these moons, and they're taking advantage of it. So it's going to be a collective strike. They're just not delivering anything. And they want, and these people that are doing this, what they want is to be treated as kindly and as deserving as those in the sphere. So that's kind of what the bargaining tool, the chip is.
I love it because it just compounds all of these crises on top of each other, and we're gonna just see if they can pull through or if everything's gonna fall apart. I love it.
Yeah, it's like worst case scenario. Like, what's the worst case scenario? Everything's happening. Rin, if you would.
For me, boop. And that's a 6.
Oh. Okay.
Have we had a 6?
We are not.
I don't think so.
Uh,
9s, right? Oh,
no,
wait,
we did
no,
one
we've
6
had
right here.
1 6. Yep.
Okay. So 6 number 2. Someone returns to our place changed. Who are they, and how are they different? Oh boy.
That's getting spicy.
Uh-huh. Oh man. So my immediate thought was the old man.
Oh my god, what? Yes!
Oh my god.
And then,
Absolutely.
What?
And now it's like, how did this old man return to life after we established he died?
It's space.
It's space. Yeah.
Or a-
So old man is back. He just showed up. He just showed up one day, and people aren't sure if it's really him or if it's somebody masquerading as him. But he kind of has done like a Day the Earth Stood Still kind of appearance, where it's just like he showed up and he's like, this all needs to stop. And so he has these extraordinary science-y otherworldly abilities and is just like, y'all need to be aware of what's happening. And he causes one of these rolling blackouts that he had hyped against so much, but it's just like, look at what the system is doing, and y'all need to take a look at this new energy source that's going to solve the problems, because he's going to make everybody stop so that they can pay attention and be like, this new energy source is what's really important, and the people on the moons need to be heard. And so now this mysterious old man has returned, heralding.
I do like the kind of like the sun and moon kind of like imagery. So I think this new energy source should come from the moons themselves. So like you have the sphere, that their energy comes from the sun, the Federation, their energies come from the sun, but then we have this mysterious new energy, whatever the fuck it looks like, but it definitely comes from the moon in some shape or form.
Oh, I had an idea.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, okay, so you said how it comes from the moon energy. What if every time somebody passes away, they send their bodies as a recycled thing to the moon that creates the energy? So technically the dead are what's powering the new source of energy because it's within the earth, within the moon surface.
Going on. We have some Soylent Moon going on.
Soylent Moon,
right?
yeah. The moon is people.
Now I'm just imagining the moon in the face with Link Awakening fucking just coming closer. Oh
Majora's
my god.
masking it, just like
That that changes everything.
and for some reason that's how, I don't know how he returned, but I think the energy from that moon either projects him to seem like he's real
The
or
moon
something.
sent him.
I don't know
Yes.
yet.
Love it. The moon sent him.
It's just space
Right.
necromancy. Fine.
I'm fine with that too. I'm fine with this. This is great already. And we haven't even reached our first cycle. Shay, your turn.
Really hoping I get to do some Eat the Rich in this.
Yes.
Oh, I guarantee we're gonna reach that point, I feel.
I feel like we were rapidly going that way.
I'm okay with it.
All right, 7 is. Did we get a 7 before? What is the most beautiful
Have not. This is
thing
gonna be our first 7.
Nope.
Oh, what is the most beautiful thing in or about our place? Wow, that's an open-ended question there. Oh. I'm gonna say, because we did. I'm gonna say because
was
we
on my side,
did.
sorry.
Okay. Because we did a bunch of piled up a bunch of conflict stuff in this utopia, seeming utopia. I'm going to say we probably get a few scenes of places where we see people kind of like working together. On the moons, this is kind of obvious because they have to rely on each other and what resources they have. And so they all come together and they're doing this strike, and then like working together to keep each other alive during these icy blackouts, and then probably see some of the same people who were doing the exploring and saw the danger and this complacency, and like they have this, like nobody knows how to deal with these mimic plants because they don't know how to make projectiles and check to see if these plants are our plants or man-eating monsters without smashing the plants themselves that they need to eat. So I think we see, some of the people there kind of like coming together and then having ideas, these people who wanted to explore and learn new things. And they're they're the ones who are like, well, I have some ideas, you know, and they get like, and they come up with like really simple answers that for some reason nobody else could come up with. But I think the beautiful thing here is that we see instances of people working together.
Community. That probably fits really well if like with like people on the sphere are trying to figure out and solve their problems, and the people on the moon are trying to work together to solve their problems. So they're both having like this wonderful moment of just collaborating within their own individual spaces, which is quite beautiful for them specifically. But it feels so ominous too, because like they're working together for themselves, but not necessarily working together as like a bigger community, which probably would, if they did that. Interesting. I'm very excited for this place, but also worried for it.
Same.
Like greatly worried for it. Elliot, are you ready?
Right. Yeah. Got a first
Oh,
10.
we got our 10. All right, our first 10 means that we are actually going to experience the next part of this game, which is our cycle. So, all of this ominous stuff is sort of like we've talked about. We've kind of built up this story, but now we get to time skip. But before we time skip, Elliot, you get to pick a question. It's on page 23.
So many.
And there
So many
is
good ones.
there's 6 questions that you get to pick. You pick one of them and you're going to answer that question. Just straight out answer that question. That's going to kind of bookend this cycle for us. So pick your question and answer it.
Oh, man. This is kind of difficult because in a sense we've answered a lot of these already. But trying to find a place to end on. All right. I think that I'll go with there's a great victory that enables the inhabitants of our place to build towards a new future. What's the future they wish for? How will they set and work on it? So with that, I think the development of the new energy grows and spreads among the base itself. Not everybody knows that it's like dead powered, but people are seeing the advantages more and more just by the small talk of everybody being like, oh yeah, there's this other alternative, and the old man, basically warning them. People actually listened. And that, I think, is the victory within itself for the new energy source to still like be on the rise. And it looks hopeful that possibly this new power source could thrive. So I think that's how I want to see as the that's the victory I kind of want to see. the future they wish for is trying to be less reliant on the sun, even though they're still the naysayers. But I think they'll set to work with it by slowly implementing things like certain days, especially in the winter months, they're able to harvest the side power energy so they aren't as reliant on the sun, and they start using it during that month to show that that this is liable for power.
Awesome. Okay. So here's what we're going to do now that the question is answered. We're going to roll a d6, and the person who's going to do it is going to be Elliot, since you pulled the 10. So you may roll a d6, and once the whatever number we have, that's how many years we're going to either skip forward or backward in time, and that is up to Elliot to decide whether or not we're going to go forward or backward. So we're going to
that's
skip
a one.
Yeah.
I think we'll just do 1 year forward, because we have the progression already of this power. We'll see how things have escalated, and we'll still keep it in that winter month.
Yeah, that would be still in the winter month. Just the next year. So now we collectively have to decide a couple of things. Do our characters or the civilization that we have still exist? Probably. I would say probably. What does the place physically look like now? Has anything physically changed about it? Like it looks different, or is there things that are the same?
I think the star looks just slightly angrier.
Oh, I like that. Does it smell different? I want to answer this one. The moon smells slightly of decay. Just a little bit, as the energy is being used more. Just kind of smell the stink of death.
Not the dead star. Oh no.
The dead star. Huh, that's a cousin of something, maybe. That isn't actually a moon.
That's no moon. I think, speaking of the moon people, the Moonanites, as they are so wonderfully called, I think maybe something within the society has changed. That the moon people are getting a little more respect now, since everybody listened to the old man. So maybe their rights and privileges have shifted a little bit. Not so much that they're unwilling to eat the rich, but it's better for them now, or at least the illusion of being better.
Now, we never gave our space or ground a name, but besides saying that it's part of the Federation, I guess we've been calling it the Sphere, or the Dyson Sphere, and the moons. Would they have different names, or would they stay the same?
We were talking about the moons trying to push for independence.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe within the last year, they've been kind of workshopping a name for themselves. Don't ask me what that name is. I don't have a name yet, but
maybe the chat might help us a little bit later. Maybe they'll come up with a name.
Vote in chat now, a name for the moon people.
We'll go with the first one. It'll be great. So now that we've finished this, right, we're up to our second cycle, right? So numero 2, the Bowians. I'm gonna go with the Bowians.
All right, I get that reference. I like it. I like it.
So we'll go with the Bowians for our moon people. And then for the sphere folk, you know, the Dysonites. Just to give us some more names so that we can remember. But now that we have started, Bowians versus the Dysonites. Now that we've done our first cycle, now we are a year later. And when we draw our cards, we're going to be answering them in regards to the world as it is, right? Now that we've kind of established what happened a year later. Once we roll another 10, we're going to skip ahead or back, depending on the situation. Because we had a very long first round, chances are the 10 might come up faster. So just kind of be aware of that and be prepared, because the story that we're telling within this time frame now might not be a story that we're going to stick with for very long. So I'm just going to warn you guys about it. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we ramp everything up like super fast, you know, and ramp up the drama, but we may end up skipping again sooner than you think. Okay?
Cool.
So Shay, you can go first. Since Rin went first the last round.
5. 5 is... Bless you. 5 is... Oh. What are the stars like in our place? The sky? The weather? Well, we kind of have different answers for each of these. I think within the Dyson sphere, the sky is like seeing the opposite end of the world with a glowing star in the center of it. You know, since you're not looking on a horizon so much, the horizon's curling upward and around in all directions. For the Bowians, I do not understand that reference. But for the Bowians, oh, okay. They because their power source doesn't, you know, draw a lot of energy, and they have like these cold ones and this kind of thing, they can actually see the sky really clearly, and you know, they can see the belt of the galaxy where all the stars are more clustered together, and it's very beautiful. For the Federation planet, they're very, you know, very industrialized, because they're the ones kind of siphoning a lot of this power away. So they've got the light polluted skies where you can see the stars, but you don't really see everything.
I love how in Dyson there is like, it's supposed to be like the utopia side, but you don't have a sky. You just have this simulated space. And it's actually on the moons that you actually get this cool atmosphere, and you get these cool visions and sights and sounds. And I think that's really cool about the two places that we've kind of established here, with the Federation kind of being in back ass fuck off wherever, and they just have like the worst of it. But like between these two places, it's like very interesting. I like that about our ground. I just want to compliment that. That's all. All right, Elliot.
Okay. We have an 8.
That would
That'll
be our first 8.
Yeah. What does success look like on the planet, and what do the inhabitants want? I had to make sure I was saying that word looks different than it sounds sometimes.
I agree.
So success, I believe, I feel like between the two, because we have the two split areas, success within the Federation itself looks like things continuing on. There's no failure. There's nothing that stops, as long as that keeps going, there's no failure. And because they need to keep things running, there hasn't been a failure since day one that they know of. Meanwhile, on the Dyson side, success is honestly just things feeling like they're moving forward, that they've found this issue and they've found ways to solve it. And I think, at least in the Federation, they want continued success within things like there's no issues here, there's no problem, there's no war in Bossing, say. And everybody believes that. But, I think the Dyson Knight people are more prone to realizing that there are faults within the success. So they just want the future to keep prospering, as it seems to be being continued with the success of the moon power. So I think that just like rounds out the definite, like more so the definite of something. It doesn't completely build something to the world, I think, but I don't know. That was kind of a tough one to try to.
No, but I think it makes sense because like it still is it establishes that like the sphere and the people who live in the sphere and the Federation that's attached to it only want the status quo. And if people believe that the status quo is successful, then nothing can go wrong. Whereas we know, as the storytellers and people listening, we know that the people who live on the moon are feeling like change is the most important thing, and if we can see change, we can make it successful. And they're so diametrically opposed right now. So I think that's really good at establishing or reminding us about what the two places are kind of going up against.
Cool.
So I do like that. Oh, it's my turn too. Unless anybody wants to add to it. I know I'm talking a lot, so I apologize. I got a 4, which would be our second 4. The bar opens their doors to all. What is the bar and who is a regular there? Or the church changes a core mandate. What is the church, and what about their worldview have shifted?
Climate change is
Okay.
real.
Okay. There is a shift in what's going on the moon, right? Like, I think that when the old man came and told them that the moon is what had the power, I think people felt empowered in themselves because they were part of the moon, right? But I think that empowerment, or knowing that you are capable of having power and you are capable of making a change, is sort of like the belief system that now this moon population has. But it says that the church has changed, so I feel like there might be like a schism in this quote unquote church, where the individuals on the moon who are like, yeah, okay, we have the power, or we know that we have power, but we need to make sure everybody else knows that we have the power. Maybe they're part of the people who did the strike, or like maybe like the more extremists from the strike from our previous cycle. And they decide that maybe they find out what actually powers the moon energy, which are the dead. And they think the moon needs to eat
Ooh, yeah.
And
Love a
so
good death
what
cult.
had the moon must eat. And so now we have a schism of a death cult that wants to essentially find fuel for the energy source, and they're looking to the sphere. So I know that was kind of like a little ominous, but I feel like that would be just a cool little wrench to throw in there.
Somebody's got to figure
This
out
poor
about the
place,
dead.
It's been a year.
Huh?
I said, this poor place. It's been a year. They went from, oh no, the sun's going to explode, to moon death cults. Love it.
Ain't that how it be sometimes? Look, we got a movie length a story to tell, so we got to go quick.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, just one problem after the other. It's just the Expanse, you know. Next season, what's the new
Oh my
problem?
God.
Death cult on the moon. Let's go.
Here for it.
All right,
Yeah,
Ren.
let's-
What is our next problem? Let's find out.
What's our next problem? So we got another 5.
Okay. So that's our second 5.
Second 5. We're still on the this is the original list, right? On 20 plus.
Yes. The list
Okay.
doesn't change when we go through each cycle. We just kind of go through them again.
Okay. This is perfect, guys. What secrets are kept in our place? Why are they kept? And by who
Oh,
and
no!
from?
It's fate.
So, yeah, it was perfect timing. Hey, so I heard there's this moon death cult that's been going around. I feel that because, you know, all utopias are actually dystopias, I feel like the upper echelon have always known that you have to feed the moon. And initially it was old people, or they've portrayed it as old people to kind of keep that Soylent energy theme going. But they've known that you could just put anybody into this moon and feed it for energy. And so now the secret that is being kept is dissidents are also being sent to feed the moon. And so, you know, there's this level of control in the upper echelon that if you shake the bed too much, you could be sent to the moon.
I kind of have a more messed up idea on top of that.
I love it. Let's go. Let's go.
What if they realized the younger the people were who died gave them more energy?
Oh, because the amount of energy is proportional to, like, you know, if
The
you
age
live
of
a
the
long life.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you live a long life, that's all of the energy of the human body has been spent. So there is not as much if you're just
Mhm.
feeding it elderly, but if it's
Yeah.
younger people, oh no.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh
I
no.
play a lot of horror games, so oops. That's where my brain went.
Oops. We went
Oops,
from
all times.
we went from like sci-fi dystopia young adult novel to now sci-fi horror.
little Eldritch
Yeah.
Nightmare in there. It's fine.
I'm so excited. I feel bad for the I feel bad for the people who live on this ground, but I'm excited. Shay, are you ready? Uh,
7.
It's second 7? Yeah.
Second time I've gotten a 7. Invent a specific street, building, corner, overlook, or meeting place. What is it called officially, and what do locals call it? Well, I feel like doing a focus situation on this.
okay.
I'm not sure what option this would be, but I think it would be. I think it would be leave the frame, either leave the frame or tell a story. But I think it would be leave the frame. Maybe not.
Tell
But
your
I feel
story.
like
However you want to focus the situation, we'll just make it fit. Because honestly, this story is great, and I know whatever you're gonna add is gonna be awesome.
All right. So those people who had explored and learned about the Dyson sphere and had come up with these ideas on how to handle mimic plants. They also find ways off of this superstructure space station, and they catch wind of these people who work on the moons and are like, and I feel like a group of them, being critical thinkers that they are, like, well, they must have a lot of good ideas. What if we went there and maybe brought some back and we could share ideas? Um, Unknowing about this death cult or anything, uh, travel to uh, you know this moon, and there are people, the ones that are not part of the schism death cult, that are like well, this is our chance to uh, to actually make it to this supposed paradise, and share ideas, and we could maybe solve this thing. And it kind of puts the potential that the people who work on these moons that do these solar relays to transfer this energy to the bureaucracy planet where that upper echelon is. They're they're kind of watching with whatever spies that they have, and they get this video, and they see this interaction, this positive interaction between people who left the sphere and are like, hey, come back, come to this place, and bring your ideas with you. And then you know someone turns off the screen, like, back on this planet, and they're like, they can stop the supernova, hit the wasp's nest, agitate the death cult.
Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no. I'm saying oh no because I'm
I'm
excited for like the implications.
just giving you your villains. We already knew who the
Need
villains
'em.
were.
Yeah, we needed villains on top of the villains.
I mean, they
Oh.
were
The
the same
bigger
villains.
league of villains.
Yeah, I basically made them I basically just made them more evil.
Yeah, I like it. I love it. I'm excited. Elliot.
All right. A 2. I feel like we're just gonna get the 10s back to back, and that's how that's gonna happen at this
It
point.
could happen. I had a round 3 that only had 1 card, then a 10, and then the fourth round was 3 cards, then a 10. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
So this is number 2.
Second 2, yeah. No, wait. Yes.
Okay.
Or 2.
What is produced in our place right now? How does it make its way to the wider world? Is this export a physical good, knowledge, or something else? Hmm. I think right now it's obvious that the second source of energy is being placed. And I think there might be something else, though. I think maybe the knowledge within those people who are coming, the newer people, I think they're coming along with, I want to focus on them because I think that would be a different, like, because they are coming to the place and I want to establish them a little bit more. I think they bring hope. If that, I think there's, with the death cult, there's a little bit, fear going around because more people are catching on. And I think that the people who are just arriving, who don't know about the death cult yet, but they bring hope to the people who are there as they arrive. Because I don't think they're going to straight up tell them, hey, there's a death cult. I think they might skirt around the situation, talk to them more, and trying to find an alternative and use them as like a beacon, like they're heroes almost.
I'm sorry. I just had a vision where they're like, yeah, so here's our fountain. Hey, what's that over there? Don't worry about that. That's just a little group of people that they hang out sometimes at night on a Thursday. And they just kind of have fun doing their own thing. Don't worry about them.
Yeah, that's just your everyday ritualistic sacrifice.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
They can murmur things. Don't worry about it.
Our hapless sun heroes.
Yeah, the hapless sun heroes who don't know what they're walking into, but people see them because they're new. They see them right now as a beacon of hope.
Okay. And look at me rolling a 2. That would be a major modification is made to the environment of our place. What is this change? Was it made by someone or did it simply come to pass? Oh man, I have so many things I want to say and talk about that's kind of like rattling in my brain, but I'm gonna add to our super villains over at the Sphere. Okay, so they are going to modify the Dyson Sphere, or the solar panels, the solar relays that's sort of like sucking up all the sun power and stuff like that. They're going to either like turn the relays or adjust the relays in such a way that's going to allow them to siphon off some of the moon energy, right? And this is all sort of like in anticipation for when they agitate the death cult to do a mass sacrifice to the moon so that they can siphon off all of that extra moon energy and store it and then fucking export that shit. You know, like they're getting ready to basically like cause instigate a big issue. And it's twofold, right? Because if they agitate the death cult in such a way, then it's going to mess with the public relations that the moon people, the Boeans are trying to establish. And it's gonna create that schism. Like maybe the sun hero showing up is like this sign of like, hey, we're gonna work together and stuff like that. But the evil villain scientists, they're getting ready to like sow those seeds and like get all that energy. So they're modifying those relays in order to be able to get all of this stuff, this future energy that they're definitely going to get. That's their plan.
I love her plan of eco-scientist terrorist on a new utopia.
The genre ran away from us very quickly.
It's in space. That's what counts.
That's all that matters. It's sci-fi, right?
Mhm.
We just see the science to
Great.
we see the science to its logical conclusion or illogical conclusion. Doesn't matter. Oh, that is, I forgot to take that out. So that needs
Oh,
to
no.
That's
Get
a
out of
face
here.
card. That needs to go somewhere else. Go away. No one see that.
No one
Just
saw
hold it.
that. 8. Not a 10 yet.
No 10 yet. That's our second 8.
Our second 8.
Looks like.
The news is dramatic and the tensions are high. I love that.
Oh
I
no,
keep
Red.
getting the yes ands. It's so good. So let's see here. And the tensions are high. What is the news? How is this reaction physicalized in space? Literally.
I love that you keep getting like the gut punchers.
Yep.
Really
gosh.
flex those storytelling muscles. Or you
Oh,
could just
man.
pass the buck. You know, like to say, you know what, I'm going to focus this issue.
I think I am. I think I'm going to pass this one because I've been doing all the shakeups. I don't want to shake up too much now.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh, I still have a shakeup because I want to do a sea and omen. I want to add an omen. So
What can possibly go wrong? Again.
possibly wrong. So we have been establishing offhand that this is kind of slowly becoming an Eldritch nightmare. So what if at some point the moon wakes up because we've fed it enough, and so not only do you have to deal with the cataclysmic event of the sun on one side, but you have the pending cataclysmic event of the moon on the other. And maybe the moon will wake up and feed on everybody on this Dyson sphere when it awakens.
I have another horrible
The
idea.
music fucking changing.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Oh.
What if, as the moon awakens, those mimic plants do again? Like they were already, we established that they were taken care of, right? Or they were fended off or something, right?
Yeah.
Candle.
I think that as things start awakening, they come back again, but it's like even like a bigger fervor. Like the power of the awakening awakens them all over again. That was just the first round, baby.
Oh no.
It's just a
Guys,
trope.
did we just notice that the background changed too? It got fucking ominous as well.
Yes.
Ian was preparing this one.
All cosmic order.
Holy shit. Oh no. And you said you weren't gonna do anything to shake things up. Oops.
Oops.
I tried.
Alright. Ooh, Shay? I'm so
I feel like this is an appropriate time for a 10.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
actually a really good time.
Okay.
that's perfect.
Let's see.
Oh, so good. Ian, what does that even say in chat? Oh, now I can read it. Never mind.
All right, I see two good options here.
Man, they're all good. I'm not gonna
Do
lie,
I
but,
do?
like,
Do I do Do I do anticipation of problems, or do I do a great loss?
I think we should have a great loss.
Kind of feeling that one more also. So I think for this great loss, there's the Dysonites and the what were the other ones? Bohemians. The Dysonites and the Bohemians that have been kind of like talking together and are like, yeah, let's share ideas. Let's see what this places look like. And they're making plans and they're getting ready to leave to try and make a better future for both their sides. And then uh, the bureaucracy planet, or with the people who are in control of everything, don't want to let go of their control. So they're like, okay, let's hit the kill switch, and they get whatever people are down there with this death cult to coax this death cult into acting, and they do, and it is bloody and terrible, and a lot of uh, a lot of a lot of a lot of the Dysonites and Bohemians both are killed in this great massacre, and their bodies dragged to whatever this great pit is where they feed this moon, and um, and the people in control who have puppeted this entire reaction are siphoning all that death power away and for themselves, and they're just sitting there relaxing and drinking wine while this massacre is going on. But there's a small group of them that managed to get on a vessel and escape the moon, uh, barely by the skin of their teeth, um, managing to escape this this bloodbath.
Wow. I'm getting chills because the music is appropriate and we're just like, oh no, we've hit the turn. The story has gone so far. Um what we need right
I'd like
now,
to,
Shay, from Oh, you wanna yes and?
yeah, yes, and to the people who escaped. I think those are the people who were originally there as the shining glimmer of hope. They're the ones that are like, we did all we can. Now we need to we need to go. This is hopeless. And the hope leaves.
A loss of many in numbers and in the virtue that we were so desperate for before. Oh
And
no.
it's it's I think I feel like kind of to play off of this a little bit more. Um, some of there's like just like a small group of these sun and moon people who manage to escape together, and like as they're fleeing, um, this death cult is throwing these all these bodies into the pit, and then uh this moon does wake up, and everyone else on it gets eaten, even the death cult.
Well deserved. They probably deserved it.
I have this thing in space.
Shay, would you like to roll a d6? And let's see how many years either we go in the future or in the 1 year.
Wow. We're really focusing on these 3 years.
Let's
Would you
go
like to
back
go in
the
the
let's go back to how no, let's move forward. We already did last year.
All right, so we're gonna move forward. So here are our questions that we need to answer about our world now that we have moved a year forward. Do our characters or civilizations still live here? Ooh, that's a tough question. I'm definitely pretty sure that at least one of the moons is now gone because the moon being has awakened. So I think there's definitely like I think that like the Dyson sphere is still here, and we have these other moons, but like it's coming. So like there is this feeling like this civilization is on the brink of extinction because this ominous creature, otherworldly being is coming. So moon's haunted, gotta go.
Moon's haunted, bye.
What does the place physically look like now? Has anything visually changed? Does it smell different?
It's barren now.
Oh yeah,
Everything's dead.
it's all but
I want to
empty.
say it. Yeah, I want to say it's not just barren, but it's like all these places are. It's like all these structures and places are just entirely abandoned, and there's what's this like little bit of I don't even know what you call it, but I'm kind of thinking Tropus vibes where there's just amniotic fluid like coming up from like these craters and stuff, and maybe not living things kind of like flowing around in there.
Is it weird to say, like, because I know in the last cycle, when we kind of established that the energy was dead people, like that there was like this slight small smell of decay, and I think now that our moon being has awakened, maybe somehow the smell of decay permeates in the vacuum of space.
Okay, yeah.
Don't know how, doesn't matter, but it just is. Does the place still use the same name?
No. I don't think so. After this.
Maybe we should name our moon being? Or the
Wakes
thing
up
that
and it's just
awoken?
like, I am David.
I'll go with that.
David.
I've
We'll
something
go
to
with-
tell my partner. Guess what? You're now a moon being.
Okay. We're gonna go with I want to go with David. I'm sorry. I honestly do want to name our
No,
moon
that's
being
hilarious.
David. Whatever that might be. Okay. Are we ready for round 3, guys?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if we can. Let's see what the cards deal us. So, Elliot, you go first.
Okay. And we draw whoop, that's wrong thing. A 3. And that would be the second 3?
Yes, that would be our second 3.
Perfect. Alright, let me scroll back up. What do people in our place argue about for fun? Whether at the bar, social square, or in other social places. Oh, God. There aren't people, though, anymore.
Not on the moon, at least, but we
Not
did
on
mention
the
that we.
moon. Wait. That's
What about
true.
the sphere?
So the moon is completely empty. The sphere still has some people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think with what's left of the people that are on the sphere, I think that like there is a social space, kind of like an outdoor pavilion that isn't really outdoor, but it's like a glass dome so people can see what is going around. And I kind of see it kind of like how like Socrates and Plato all had their kind of like meeting kind of spaces. It's a space that's kind of like that. So for fun, people argue about well, we learned all about that death cult, but what if there was a life cult? And it's just like one person's like, a life cult? I don't even want to know what that means. Are people making life in this life cult? And the other guy's like, well, it could be that way, but you know how there's that life with those carnivorous plants that just erupted? What if that was the life cult after all? And it's just these people who make these weird conspiracy theories after this whole like cacophony of weird goes on as they're all viewing the world and moons and stuff spinning around them. I think there's a sect of people still that are like theorists about the life cult because there was the death cult.
Oh my god. The privilege of these folks to be able to see that there's like, to know that a whole ass planet just got decimated somehow mysteriously, and they're just like, you know, wouldn't it be funny? They're also a life cult. You're literally in apocalyptic levels, and like these people are like, yeah. Could you imagine?
Yeah, what if we just made more life?
Oh my god. Holy shit. And we rolled a 10. And we rolled a 10. This is what I mean by like...
What if life cult and now we're done?
What if?
We just got that small glimpse into 1 year in the future. How are things going? They're going. What about life cults? Yeah, what about them?
And we skip again. All right, so it is resting day in anticipation of problems just across the horizon. What is believed to be coming, and how do the inhabitants of our place set these problems aside just for one day? Maybe we'll just go back to that little location for a second here, where they're debating, you know, whether or not there is or is not a life cult that could maybe somehow go up against what death has brought us, right? And you have these people discussing, yes, but have you ever considered if we were to offset the death that was caused on the moon, that we could perhaps bring the slumbering creature back to, its, sleepy hole in the moon, I guess. He's not very articulate. And you can see kind of like the reason, like people saying, well, we can always create this initiative for more people to come to the sphere, and if more people from the Federation come from the sphere and bring more life, then surely we can combat this thing. And you can see kind of like the camera looms over the shoulder of these folks, kind of having this this debate that, while seems kind of insane, but like the news feed like is in the background, right, with the TV, and you'll see like some sort of like reporter who's reporting what's happening on the moon, and they show like a shot, like of live feed footage of the moon that was where where David sleeps, or now as David is awake. and you can see this viscous fluid that was originally coming out of the cracks and just kind of settling on the ground, and now it's kind of formed into these big arcs, almost like solar flares going around the moon itself. And you can only describe it as things like tendrils or hands or fingers just coming to try and break that hard shell of the moon in order to really release the true horror that is David. Whatever that might be, but that's kind of like ominous in the background of this news feed. People are trying to debate what the fuck is happening right now. And again, that the conversation of the life cult and how to solve these things are kind of the way that they try and keep these problems at bay. But the reality is that you can't stop David. David is hungry.
I'm having a whole different visual than literally everybody else right now.
Oh, what if that
I love
what if
it.
that is David? What if that is David, though?
Oh no.
It's pure radiant terror.
Love it. I'll make some notes. Bring them back to you guys.
Oh man. Holy moly, 4 years is going to be our number, and I just want to keep going forward, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to keep pushing forward, because this is batshit. We've gone into batshit territory, and I want to keep going. So 4 years into the future from where we just left off, do our characters in Civilization still live here? Or maybe there's a little less of them, because we had multiple moons, right? So I'm wondering if maybe each year a new moon has been taken by David. You know, like it's kind of Pac-Manning its way around the sphere, and maybe the last moon is gone, and now we have just the sphere.
The sphere
What?
and bureaucracy planet.
Yes, bureaucracy planet. Oh, they'll get there. They'll get their comeuppance soon. So what does this place physically look like now? Has anything visually changed? How does it smell? And how does it feel?
I definitely think there's at least one moon eaten per year.
Oh, that's terrifying.
So, yeah, but, you know, in the first year, it was having time to erupt. Second year, you know, it was growing more, and it had that weirdness that kept growing, and then it just got hungry and ate everything, like the hungry moonapillar it is.
Yes. I do love that. I love this terrifying thing that we've created.
I feel like on the sphere, the people that escaped it have gotten back, and so now, like with it, they've brought like the news of this thing, and now they're like, oh no, well, how do we stop this? Also, the sun is exploding. So I think there's some people who just have this realization of all this stuff that is going on, and then there's like, there's more people in the superstructure than there are on the bureaucracy planet. So how can we change that?
I almost want to say that the Federation is planning on abandoning the sphere. Because it feels like something that a bureaucratic Federation might do. Is
If
that
we
it
take
might just
Wally
say,
logic into this, yes, I love that.
like, they're just going to be like, you know what, we should just cut our losses based on what these people are saying, and just sort of like, eh. So maybe like the people on the sphere now realize that hope is lost, and they've been abandoned, and they used to be this sphere of like, ooh, look at this utopia, look at how this wonderful place, and look how we're protected, and now they've been abandoned, and now they're no longer the golden child kind of situation. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of interesting. So does it still use the same name?
Ooh. It's kind of funny that the moon people were the ones who are trying to break away, but now the sphere kids have been the ones left independent. Maybe they take a new name, and maybe it's not nearly as interesting as they hoped it would be. But there's something more close to. I was
Are we
trying to make
talking
some.
about the spear people or the moon people? Sorry.
The Dysonites are the ones who got abandoned, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Because our Boeans are all
Are largely
gone now. Yeah.
yeah, I was trying to think of a dystopian sounding name for Dysonites, and it was like Dysonianites, and I was like, no, it doesn't work. But maybe. Nope, I got it. Okay, you're gonna hate me for this, but they went from being the Dysonites to the Dysonauts. And they think they're clever, but they're not. I'll be here all week. I'm glad the raid arrived.
Oh my god.
I
Oh,
think
that's great.
one more thing that I'm going to add to this. The Boeans that manage to escape before their moon gets eaten keep running to the sphere, so that it just keeps becoming this giant platter to this horrific David.
Oh man. Just
For all the new
there served
viewers,
up.
David is a giant moon that keeps eating other moons. Just put this there. David is not a person; it is a being.
It cannot be
Made
described.
of many people.
It is only hungry.
It hungers.
All right, guys, this is the last cycle, and again, we have a lot of cards that were already drawn, so the chances of that 10 might pop. It might even pop up when I draw, so that's something that we just gotta kind of learn to accept if that happens. But I'm just gonna hope for a card that isn't that. Okay, we got an ace. This would be our I see 1, 2, this is our third ace, and it says the harvest day has arrived.
Oh no!
The harvest day has arrived. What is being harvested, and for what purpose, and how is it being stored?
Oh,
and you know what, guys? I'm actually not going to answer this question, because I have something else I would like to do.
I'm done.
I would like to tell a story. Okay. And the storyteller is David.
I love it.
And it's not, the story is being told within the meta, you know, sort of like this narrative out of body experience. No one knows that this is the story, but the audience does. You know, it's less of a storyteller telling it to people, but it's just the creature itself, the being itself, telling it to the people who are listening, us and the viewers. And that horror that it acknowledges the watchers in this scenario, like it can see the watchers and it's telling the watchers why it exists. And David tells the story of how in the beginning there was nothing, and then a spark, and there was everything, and we existed for many times, many years, and then we slept. Soon we will all come together, back to becoming one. I would like to see my Mary. When will she arrive? When will she come? I will take the parasites off her back, feed upon them, so my Mary can shine. And then we'll come back. And David is looking for Mary. Where is she, I wonder? Maybe we've already alluded to her.
Star.
It's secretly actually a romance story, guys!
It's been a romance novel.
So David is actually seeking one of his own that's currently hidden and is destined to arrive. I'll let you guys fill in the blanks there, but I feel like I've clued it in. Or you can not do it. It's fine, because that's my part of the story. So, Ren. Oh my god, there it is!
Well, I liked your story, but the cards have decided.
Okay, guys, so here's the thing. This goes a little bit differently when we reach that last 10. Okay? This is going to be the ending of the game, right?
Ooh.
So this is on page 14. And so I'll read it because I like the way that it's written and it's kind of very interesting. When the fourth 10 card is drawn, the game is over. No matter the number of cards left in the pile or the stories that are in motion, our window has fogged and clarity of vision we had in our place is lost to us. It may feel sudden, but in truth, there is never a clean exit. Places go on forever, building narrative by their mere existence. However, just because we cannot know for certain what takes place after the window of our game does not mean that we cannot make some conjectures. After all, this is a game about long traces over time. By watching our place with such attention, maybe we have learned to predict what could come to pass. As a group, without cards, decide on the following. What happens tomorrow in our place? Who wakes up? Or does anyone? What do they see? And what is the feeling they get from the world? So we can start from the top and work our way down.
Okay.
So what happens tomorrow?
I do have a little bit of idea.
Okay.
But I don't know which way to go with this. I don't know whether to go super dark with it or super poetic with it. my first thought was that you know, tomorrow is David chewing through one part of this Dyson sphere to be able to see the sun, who is Mary. But then I thought, what if Mary is actually the planet that like all the bureaucracy people were on, who were pulling the strings, and they didn't realize it. And that planet was also an eldritch entity and cracks apart and is also like a miniature star. I'm not sure which one of those to take.
Since since it's about our place, the ground itself, we can stay within kind of this system that we've made. I think that would be appropriate. Because the Federation is like so far away, they're kind of separate. But that doesn't mean that the Federation is in the clear either, right? If Mary is within the Dyson sphere, and those two finally meet or combine or coalesce together, I guess like the implication is that there are other beings and they need to wake up too. So what would you like, or what would the others feel like? I've said my opinion. Shay has said hers.
I like the idea that eventually the next day could be the day that Mary wakes up. And there's kind of like a collision between the both of them when they're both like arisen that wipes out the sphere, maybe. And then between David and Mary, a whole new planet and ecosystem erupts.
Ooh.
I want to build off of that, since we've been building up the idea that this star was going to supernova. The next day is when the Federation puts its plan into motion and sets off that catastrophic event that just turns out to create Mary. And then it's what spirals everything to where it is now.
Wow.
So that prophecy still comes true.
Yeah, definitely, I like that.
So we all agree that Mary is who wakes up, right?
Yep. Yeah. And everybody else is dead. Because they can't survive that.
I guess, what is the feeling then once Mary and David combine to create this new ecosystem or this new planet? Is there a feeling that maybe not necessarily like the Federation gets, but is there a feeling that we as the audience might feel, knowing that they have combined to create a new thing?
I think maybe in their, and this might, I don't know if this is too much of an idea or not, but what if all that, after they've both woken up and combined and drew in all these other people who just didn't survive this awakening, take on those like those feelings of like loss, and then turn the eye on the people who were manipulating it like it's not over yet. But they have like all these feelings of all the like abandonment and being used and manipulated kind of thing.
I do like that in this mass of death, that new life is created, and that new life holds the memories of the people who died. Like, that energy lingers. Because we talked about how like hope disappeared, like hope left. Like, we had some intrepid heroes that ended up just not doing anything in the end, and they just ended up not being good hope bringers, but in this new life that is created through these unknowable beings, maybe that's the hope, right? Like that's the new hope for a new world or a new future. And that resentment that they have for the Federation, they're going to turn that way, but they are more hopeful and more confident in their ability to win.
Also, the life cult, well, it was like a whole thing. The true part of it was actually the planets colliding and becoming the new life itself. So life cult actually existed, even though it was just a concept. They didn't know it was actually the combining between David and Mary creating the new life itself.
Fuck.
This new ecosystem is called Dairy.
Gary.
Or
Dairy.
David.
Mavid. I like Mavid. I like Mavid a lot.
Yeah. I am the supreme
Are we-
king.
Are we content, guys? Did we do this? I think we did this. I think we told a whole ass story playing the ground itself. So, congratulations, guys. You never played this game before, but look at what we did. Look at where we started, and now look at where we've gone. It's amazing how great of a story that we kind of all worked together and kind of built this together. So I'm very happy. I'm excited. I want to think about this world, even like now. I still want to think about it. I think it sounds amazing. It sounds like a really amazing world, and I hope you guys agree in some shape or form. But we definitely need to start doing our outros, so that way we can kind of close out for everybody and give all these thanks to everybody who kind of watched and for you guys who have played. So we're gonna go in the same order that we went when we introduced ourselves, but here are some things that I'd like you to think about. So of course, say who you are, plug what you need to plug, but also how about we give kudos to our story and mention something that we really liked about the story that we wrote together, okay? And what was your favorite part about it? Okay, this is an indie game, which can be purchased at itchy.io. So definitely, we want to kind of give kudos to the nature of the game and all of this other fun stuff, because indie games are awesome. So my name is Jesse. I am also known as the Himbogamer on Twitter, but I run a channel called Jacqueline Hare. Jacqueline Hare is where we play tabletop games, and we're going to be starting after a 1.5-year long hiatus. We'll be starting soon again, playing games like Cyberpunk or Scion 2nd Edition. So if you like the way that I facilitated games, granted I wasn't a storyteller in this game, but I helped facilitate, and if you like my vibes, please come along and stick around. I'm also in Shadowrun Blue here on this channel, as well as on other games and stuff. So look me up on the internet. My favorite part about what we wrote together was sort of like this really slow buildup of like, especially in the first cycle, like we had this real slow buildup of like all of these parties that sort of like were participating, and how they kind of all contributed to like shittiness, even though like it theoretically like a good place, but like little contributions to like the shittiness, and how each one just kind of got snuffed out, you know. I like how that happened, and it was kind of like a gradual snuffing, if you will. So I kind of like that build up, and of course I get very excited when twists happen. So like any twist happens, I'm like, oh my god. So those were actually legitimate reactions. So yeah, thank you guys. It was super fun and all that nonsense. We'll go down to Rin.
Hi, I'm Rendis of Partywipegames. You'll see me here quite a bit, as well as our own channel, Partywipegames, where we do a number of variety tabletop RPGs. We were supposed to do Vampire the Masquerade tonight, but everybody just kind of felt tired. So Ian was like, "Hey, you want to play?" And I was like, yeah, we're not doing anything. So I dragged Shay over, and here we are. We have a few other games, and it looks like we might be doing Worlds Without Numbers soon too. So that could be fun. A new game we haven't played yet, and Free League keeps sending me games because I hype them up constantly. So there is like the One Ring and a few other games that we need to check out and play. So we'll get around to that eventually. Yeah, I love these games, and as I tell Ian all the time, I am like Free League
Aw.
because they make such good stuff. Anyways, what I really enjoyed about this game was just how wonderfully out of control everything got. When you have a game that builds on top of people's ideas instead of like tearing stuff down, it's like it's just a oh yes, but let's make it even more crazy. And so that's how we went, and it was amazing just to see. We went from this federation of planets with a Dyson sphere to death cults that make life cults that just obliterate all of society and make new life that will probably repeat the awful cycle of exploitation. But it's fine because, that's another story for another time.
Another ground, perhaps. Thank you so much, Rin. Again, super awesome. I love all of your twists that you threw. All of the little ominous things that you put in definitely helped to add to the tension that we had in our game. Super great, super awesome. Shay, would you like to boast?
Hello, everyone. I'm Shay, or shaethefay, on Twitch and Twitter. I haven't been streaming recently because I'm kind of getting life stuff together. But I normally stream artwork, and I take commissions and I draw stuff, and a lot of it's character or overlays or or little chibis. Chibis have been very popular with me lately. So yeah, I do have open commission slots if anyone's interested. I also am planning on starting uh, uh, a few games on my channel. One of which I'm hoping to do my all-time favorite tabletop, Things from the Flood.
Things from the Flood.
And
Love it.
yeah, it's my favorite one. But we'll see. I have to get people together. But first, before I even do that, um, I want a living room. So I want to put the living room together and finish physical therapy and just have other stuff out of the way, so I don't have to worry about it, and just focus my attention on my art and games. Um, uh, thing I liked most about the story, um, while we didn't get to eat the rich yet, I feel like it's heavily implied that that's going to happen. And I think us just coming up with a story where exploitation just runs people dry to the point that it seriously backfires and turns eldritch entities in the direction of those who caused it.
I do definitely like how like we made those metaphors about the machine and feeding that machine and then that machine going just biting us in the ass. And I like how we kind of found that metaphor, even if it like eventually, and it kind of really works really well, and I love it. I love that about it. And yeah, I wish we ate the rich more explicitly, but definitely it's implied that they will they will be going down. So I do love that. Thank you for playing with us too. It was a delight to see to have the stories that you were telling, and all the like little nuggets of information. Those little tiny moments are definitely what kind of makes everything kind of grow. So I really did love that. Elliot.
I was supposed to say words, but my mouth didn't.
We've done a lot of
Hi.
talking today.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Elliot. I'm chaosthem on all of the socials, but if you want to follow my personal Twitter with my ramblings and stuff, that is Chaos Elliot. And I have a lot going on. So the 10th is episode 3 of my Hadestown inspired tabletop called The Riot Starts. It's been phenomenal. That will be on Carry On Comfort Studios on Thursday at 7:30 Eastern. And then I also have my very first time storytelling on a stream, second time storytelling ever, Vampire the Masquerade for Chaotic Tiefling ATL and their charity stream for My Stuff Bags, which is a great organization. And there's been amazing streams the past few weeks, and they have it going all through this month. So that is where I will be for this week. And next week, again, you'll catch me on Hadestown at Comfort Carrion, but you'll also catch me on Blue Rose on Weave the Tale. And I'm very, very excited to do that and create with all those other people. All right. Is that everything I have? Yeah. Okay. So then what I enjoyed about this whole experience was we created a world and it flew together so wonderfully. Like, we were like, this is really chaotic and weird. How is this going to converge with everything else? But it just kind of did. And the making of Mavid being its own ecosystem of stuff in the end, after literally everything got wiped out, because it was almost like, I loved the part with David telling the story of why, and he almost is like the protagonist that we don't know exists, but from the inside of the Space Center and everything, it seems like the antagonist, but really the real antagonist is the system that was created there that wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. And this moon is just trying to find its other half until it just loses everything and goes. I just loved it. I love cosmic horror.
We did hit cosmic horror pretty well. I think we hit that nice soft spot where it was like horror, but like also like intriguing, because I think once that horror element came in, like once you look into it, you can't help but want to just keep looking and keep getting drawn into it, and you want to know more about it. And I think that's really fun about the cosmic horror, or that I don't think like necessarily people like to like play around with enough, is like it's not just scary, but it's also alluring, and it's intriguing. Sometimes you just want to get embraced by it too. So, and it was super cool to see your chaos added to it, you know. And again, a lot about this game is like, you think all this chaos and all this craziness and all this yes anding is going to make things kind of end up super weird, but out of the 3 games that I've run, this one being my third, somehow all of the chaos still ends up becoming super satisfying at the end. And I really like this game because of it, and it gives everybody a chance to kind of flex their chops, and super awesome. But thank you so much for playing, guys. I super appreciate it, and stuff like that, for coming last minute to play this game and to write a wonderful story. So that's super amazing. And again, thanks to Weave the Tale. Thanks, Ian, for kind of making this happen for us and giving us this opportunity. And I hope that everybody who watched also really enjoyed the story. If you stuck around for the whole time, or even if you came somewhere in the chaotic middle, I'm glad that you came, and I'm glad that you got to experience it with us. I think I'm done. I think we're done here. And so I think this is a good point in time for us to say bye-bye, and just, you know, we'll go to the green room and we'll talk and just that's what we'll do. So let's give some big waves, some goodbyes, and thank everybody from the stream and all the raids and all that other fun stuff. So thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The music.